What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I hope each and every one of you is having a great day. Today we're just going to be doing a little bit of work on the Ecoboost in the garage. It's a nice little rainy Sunday here. So what's on the table for today? Well, the other day I was driving and I did a couple wide open throttle pulls and I started getting some negative ignition correction, which if you know anything about negative ignition correction on these Ecoboost cars, it's not really a good thing. Now, not all negative ignition correction is bad. If you're just putting around town, you're doing light throttle on and off the gas just a little bit, you might see some negative ignition correction, and that's not a big deal. It happens on a lot of these cars, especially tuned. Now, if you're starting to get negative ignition correction at wide open throttle, that is when there's an issue, and that's exactly what I was experiencing the other day. So my suspicion is that the spark plug gap has changed or widened over the last few months here. And I think that it's just a little bit wider, causing some of that negative ignition correction. So today we're gonna be taking out the plugs. We're gonna be looking at the gap. We're gonna be measuring that again, seeing where they lie. And then I picked up some new NGK 6510 plugs, which is what's in the car right now, but we're gonna replace them with some brand new ones here, gap them correctly, and then see if our negative ignition correction issue has been resolved. And I'm really hoping that it is, because that's a pretty scary thing when you're going wide open throttle and you start seeing that. That means the car is pulling timing because it's sensing knock, it's sensing some issue there. So we don't want that happen. We want to be able to get our power to the ground and not have to worry as much about what the engine is doing during our pulls. So first things first here, we got a couple things that we're gonna have to remove. We gotta remove the strut tower brace here, so that's gonna come off with a couple bolts. Underneath the strut tower brace, we obviously have our engine cover. So the engine cover... Well guys, I officially dropped a nut in my engine compartment. That's super cool. And I didn't hear it hit the floor, so great. Oh my God, guys, it hit the floor, we're good, great. Then finally, you're left with the coil packs. The coil packs come out super easy with just one bolt on each coil pack. And then you do have the cables or the connectors connecting those coil packs to the ignition harness. However, I'm gonna leave them connected and we're just gonna pull them, set them off to the side while we get access to the spark plugs. So let's see how these plugs are looking. I think there's about 10,000 miles on these, maybe a little bit less than that. It might be closer to 8,000 miles, guys. There's not really, I did these fairly recently, so we'll just see what they look like. All right, guys, so some might say that gapping these type of plugs are kind of difficult. It really isn't. I've done another video gapping these plugs on my channel before, but I did pick up this really handy little tool here. It's a little spark plug gapper, and you end up putting the plug directly into the tool here like this, and then you can see how it's kind of cut for the plug, and you end up cranking this little thing down here, which compresses the strap on the plug. Now you do this very carefully, and then you keep checking the gap between the little electrode and the strap. So kind of a cool little tool. And then the best way to measure that gap for these type of spark plugs is a feeler gauge like this. You don't want to be using those little key looking ones because that can damage the little coating on the tip of the electrode. So just be aware of here with these type of spark plugs. They can be gapped. You don't have to buy them pre-gapped. Although PD Tuning, I believe, and Tune Plus sells these plugs pre-gapped for all you Ecoboost owners out there that don't want to mess with this. You can pay a little bit more money and get them pre-gapped. All right, so we just got the spark plugs out here, and I think this is the problem. So I just checked the gap with the feeler gauge here, and guess what fits in? You guys can see that 0.030, which these are supposed to be gapped to 0.028. So that's not right, and they're not looking that hot here. I did actually, I remembered now that I rinsed off the engine bay, kind of detailed the engine bay, and I wonder if some of the water actually got down into where the spark plug reservoir goes. But the engine cover was on, so I'm not really sure if that actually happened or not. I just saw some rust on this one, which was kind of weird. So I have the new ones gapped properly, as you guys saw already. And now we're just gonna install them and fire it up and see how she runs. All right, spark plugs are installed, so let's start it up and cross your fingers everything goes as planned. Oh my God! It sounds like it gained 4 more cylinders! Ah, just kidding, guys. Sorry to disappoint. That's actually Chris's car. He's got 4 more cylinders than I am. Say hi, Chris.
What's up, guys?
We thought that'd be funny, but yeah, let's actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Let me start the car for real, and let's make sure that it actually starts. I'm sure it will, because I'm not sure it will, but perfect. We'll turn on the cob access port and just see what it looks like here, but I'm thinking we're good to go. Yeah, no lights or nothing, we're good, but the ultimate test is gonna be actually driving it. So let's go take it for a spin, get on it a little bit, and see if we can monitor that negative ignition correction, and hopefully we don't see any. All right, guys, we're in the car, obviously, if you haven't put that together already. We're gonna go test this out and see if our spark plug change helped at all. So I'm gonna go into manual mode, or I'm in sport mode. I'm gonna downshift once, and like I said, this isn't gonna fix the negative ignition correction like when you're just partial throttle, but this is gonna hopefully fix my full throttle negative ignition correction. I'm hoping anyway, so let's just see. What am I in, 5th gear? We'll do like a, I don't know, like a 3rd gear one, as long as there's new people around. Or Chris, should we do 2nd gear?
Do 2nd.
2nd gear? Oh,
Go big or go home.
yeah. All right, no negative ignition correction. 7, we got up to 7 positive, so that's good. Nothing crazy. All right, hey, it might have worked. I'll do one more little test just to see, but I think that might have been our issue, guys, so. Let me turn around. We'll do it one more time. Okay, that was like 90 miles an hour. Cool. Yep, no negative ignition correction, guys. So I think our problem was the spark plugs that kind of increased their gap over the last few months or however long I've had these ones installed in the car. So I think we fixed it. Cross your fingers it stays that way and I'm not taking those out in another 2 weeks and doing the whole job again. But anyways, guys, I hope this video was helpful to somebody out there. If it was, I'd appreciate you just hitting that little like button. That helps me out a lot. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. You guys have a good day. Bye.